Hello, everybody. I'm Giancarlo Calpiano.
And I'm Felicia.
See how I did that big presentation?
Since when did we say our...
Hello!
You threw me off.
I did? I threw you off?
Yeah, you said your last name.
Aw.
Who does that?
So much for like your acting abilities. This is our review of... Here, she's a little stunned. She got thrown off again, so I'll just continue.
Our review of the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Oh, look, she's all
Is it
upset. Sheriff of Nottingham.
Nottingham. It's
course.
not Nottingham.
No, come on, don't you know Robin Hood? The big, you know, the Sheriff of Nottingham?
Yes, what's his name?
Alan Rickman played him?
Yeah.
In the old movie.
Or Robin Hood Men in Tights. You guys ever see that?
Yes, that's right. It's an old movie too.
Very, yeah, 90s.
Yeah. I must have been like, I think, like really young.
Me too.
I was like 3.
Wow, Giancarlo. Nobody believes you.
What do you mean nobody believes
Nobody
me?
believes you.
I was about 3 years old.
No, but
when
nobody
it came
believes
out.
you. In Sheriff of Nottingham, players take on the role of merchants, competing to become the best through legal and contraband goods without being caught by the sheriff when inspection comes along. In the box you'll find 216 good cards broken down in 2, 144 legal goods in green, and 72 contrabands in red. 110 gold coins in 1, 5, 20, and 50 denominations. A sheriff stand-up marker, 5 merchants stands in different color for each player, and 5 merchants snap-on bags with matching colors for each of the merchant stands. Have the most points at the end of the game and you'll be Nottingham's best merchant and winner.
Here's how to set up. Depending on the number of players, remove any card that exceeds the number of players you are by putting them back in the box. You'll find these in the icon at the bottom left corner of the card. Shuffle the remainder of the good cards together and deal 6 to each player. Place the rest in the middle of the table and make 2 discard piles of 5 cards each on either side. Each player chooses a merchant stand and gets the same colored merchant bag. Give each player 50 golds worth of coins. Determine randomly who the player playing the sheriff first will be and give him the sheriff marker. You're now ready for business.
Each turn consists of 5 phases as marked on your merchant stand and must always be done in that order. The player to the sheriff's left can discard in front of him up to 5 cards to draw that many from either the top of the 2 discards and or draw pile. Rules to obey. You must always draw the top cards of the discard first if you want to, before moving to the draw pile. When done, the cards he discarded can be placed on either or both discards and he decides in what order to place the cards. The turn then passes to the player on his left until all players besides the sheriff complete their market phase.
Second phase is loading the merchant bag. Players will place between 1 and 5 cards in their bags and then snap it shut. They can load any cards they want and later on, if they don't get it confiscated, they'll be worth points equal to what they have on the right corner.
Declaration is the third phase. Here, players, in clockwise order from the sheriff's left, must announce what good they have in their bag. Of course, they don't need to tell him the whole truth. There are some rules to follow here as well though. You need to declare only the exact amount of goods you have, and you can only declare one type of legal goods.
Now, phase 4 brings us to the meat of the game, inspection. The sheriff can decide which bags to inspect and in which order. Here's the catch though. If the sheriff inspects a bag of a player that was truthful, the sheriff must give that merchant gold coin equal to the sum of the penalties on that player's good, which is marked at the bottom right corner. But if the sheriff finds any goods that have not been declared, legal or contraband, that player must pay the sheriff in the gold sum of the penalties of those goods. Furthermore, the sheriff confiscates those goods and discards them on either discard pile or both in the order he chooses. All other declared goods the merchant gets to keep, which he'll place in the appropriate location in his merchant stall. Of course, throughout all this process, other players may bribe the sheriff to look into other players' bag or bribe him not to look in his. The bribes can be in form of gold, goods in stall, and goods in bags, contraband or not. Hey, it might be good to give a sheriff a bit of the cut so you're not harassed and pay fines. All players that did not have their bags inspected now open theirs. They place all legal goods face up on their stall in the appropriate space, and any contraband they smuggled face down under the top of their stall. These are worth more points at the end of the game, and the royal goods, contrabands with the gold banner, not only are worth more, but also count towards the quantity for legal goods for the endgame scoring, which we'll get to later. When inspection is done, we reach the end of the round. Here, all players draw their maximum hand size of 6 from the draw pile, and the sheriff gives the sheriff marker to the player on his left as he becomes the new sheriff for this round. Repeat this process until all players have played the Sheriff twice, and then we move on to the scoring round.
Here, players count up all their points from both legal and contraband goods. Then add points to it equal to the gold you have. Lastly, check to see who is the king and queen for each legal good, as they'll give you your bonus points. To do so, every player counts how many goods they have of that type. The player with the most receives the king's bonus, written under the good in the golden scroll. And the second player receives the queen's bonus, written in the silver scroll. Don't forget to add any royal goods you have to the quantity of goods you're checking for, should you have it. Once all goods, golds, and kings, and queen's bonuses are all added, the player with the most points wins.
Sheriff of Nottingham is a riot. The game has great bluffing in it, and great negotiations that really lends itself to its theme and makes you really feel like a merchant. The good quality components is only heightened by its awesome artwork and the fluff that comes in this game. Like these beautiful snap-on pouches with its logos, and the removable storage trays for the coins, and the main deck with its 2 discards and easy access to the cards. Big props for Arcane Wonders with their attention to details on this one. I will say that this game is best played with the right type of people though. Depending on the group you play it with, it will really alter the experience. But the continuous player interaction, very minimum downtime, and pretty quick games makes it a great contender for a filler or an all-nighter. Sure, there's a little bit of luck, and drawing 5 of the same good gives you a huge advantage for that turn, but I think a 5th legal good could have alleviated that by allocating an extra slot at the bottom of the merchant stall. This would also give a bit more strategy and tactics for those kings and queens bonuses point at the end to players that will easily give up on a good if another one has too many of it. But we know that's just the snobby tacticians we are here at Board to Death. Sheriff of Nottingham gets 8 chickens in my bag, I swear, out of 10.
We're gonna have this debate again. Guys, send in your guesses for Giancarlo's age.